What is up, everybody? Welcome in MLB pre-lock show. DFS Army, Raz and Tattoo here. Massive Monday slate, 14 gamer. They probably could have just included the game that starts 20 minutes earlier and just made it a full 15 game slate.
Yeah, might as well.
But whatever. I mean, I think I said it on my pitching video today. I don't know that there's any other Monday during the season that has every team playing. So it's kind of rough coming out of a weekend and jumping into a 14-game slate. But Tattoo, how are you doing? Did you enjoy your researching for this 14-gamer?
Yeah, I believe I may have compiled about the biggest list of outfitters I've ever listed. I mean, happened in a lot of positions. There's just so many, teams. I'm like, good grief.
I will say I listed less first basemen than I have on any slate over the last month or so.
It was odd because, like, a lot of times I'll start with BVP and just get those guys in. And then I'll start going through, like, the guys who are facing lefties, and I'll go through 7 days and stuff like that. And I was working myself back up from the outfield to first. And I got to first, and I was like, damn, like, I don't really have that many first basemen.
Yeah, it's a unique slate for 14 games because it doesn't feel like there's a ton of smash spots from either side, really. I mean, some of it's probably because we have – what do we have? We have 4 pitchers 10K plus, which I don't know that we've had one of those slates. Maybe one of them all season long. We didn't have them early in the season because they didn't have guys priced up. So, like, the top guy was like 10K flat early in the year for aces. Now we get 4 guys 10K plus. One of which is just a sprinkle in GPP wise to pivot, but the other 3 guys are very, very much in play on the slate. But then we have a bunch of guys like that I just don't know that they're in play, but we need to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So because of that, I ended up with a larger pitcher pool tonight than I have on any other slate on the season. How do you feel about the pitching on this slate?
Yeah, I listed, I think, 8 pitchers maybe, and all of them in English. But some people get that.
Right.
It looks like the decision has been made on FanDuel, and that's Miz. Almost not quite double Kirby. And then DeGrom, and then everybody else is under 10%.
We have 7 pitchers above 13% on DK, but then it drops off. The 8th highest owned pitcher is down at 7%. I think I have 12 pitchers on my sheet. I think I probably mentioned that I could see myself playing 15 pitchers total in today's pitcher video. So I kind of feel like you play the expensive guys for sure in some builds. Yeah. And then all the other, like, cheaper guys, you can find a bunch of them that you just want to sprinkle in.
Like, yeah, and obviously on FanDuel, I come up with a smaller pool.
Right.
And Ken, if you mean Freeland time, I hope you mean Washington bats.
I don't know what to do with that game. Um, both are taking on left-handed pitching, so that means if I want to use a pitcher ever against both those teams, it's normally a left-handed pitcher. So that kind of plays into it. But I don't necessarily feel excited about using Washington in the first game in Coors either. Now
I
they
like
are.
Washington, but they're not in my tier one.
I don't remember where I put them, to be honest. Not in tier one, I know that, because tier one's Wrigley and only Wrigley. But yeah, pitching wise, like there's some question marks to the slate, but then it feels like, I mean, it really feels like a slate where I just want to pay up at pitching, but I realize that's not something that wins very often at this point. Ken talking about Sanchez. Sanchez is the guy that I want to sprinkle in. I want to be 3-4 times the field because he's just a direct pivot away from the ownership on those other guys, like clear pivot away. And it doesn't have to be just a pivot from Miz. Like it's an easy pivot away from Cease and DeGrom. It's a spend up pivot away from George Kirby, but all those guys are pretty highly owned compared to Sanchez. So like I want Sanchez, especially because he's pitching at home, where he's just been phenomenal. Drago picking out my main cheap guy is Kyle Leahy. But that's obviously just picking on the Angels, even though the field apparently is not really doing that. I mean, I say that, but he's the ninth highest projected own right now. But sub 7%. I'm intrigued by that number.
Yeah, he's 8th on FanDuel, and I'm kind of interested in the guy that's right there with him in Tolley.
Yeah, Tolley is what, 7th on DK?
Yeah, him and Sanchez basically have the same ownership on FanDuel, both at like 5%.
On DK, Tolley's 3 times as much as Sanchez. I like Tolley too. I don't love the fact that he's all the way up at 8,700. Like if he would have been low 8Ks, I think he'd probably be chalkier as a play along Mizorowski, or even with Kirby or any of the spend up guys, because he creates a little bit more value.
He's more expensive than Kirby on FanDuel.
That's wild. The fact that Braxton Ashcraft is 9,200 and expected to be higher owned than Dylan Cease is
he's
blowing my mind
on FanDuel, which is like I believe the first thing I even said in my note about him was like, yeah, he's not a 10K pitcher.
Yeah. Ryan Weathers super popular on DK, but I think that's just because he's only 7,700, so it's a somewhat easier pairing with Mizorowski on the slate.
Yeah, when I look at it, I'm going by the ownership. Love the top two in Miz and Kirby. The White Sox just keep crushing the ball, and I don't think I'll be getting to DeGrom much. Ashcraft, that's a lot to pay facing the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. Ryan Weathers, and then I kind of like the next set. C. Sanchez Toll more than the 3 guys above him.
I mean, I'm going with DeGrom because his home numbers are insanely better than road numbers. The the White Sox, the first 3 games out of the break, are striking out 10% or 10 times per game.
Yeah.
They have just 2 home runs in the 3 games. Obviously, they have scored 5 runs per game, but they're hitting just 222 as a team out of the break. So I think there's upside for DeGrom. But yeah, see, when he does have problems, it's home runs, and that's an issue against the White Sox. I am playing a decent chunk of Weathers because I mean Pittsburgh is, what do they have, the 3rd most strikeouts per game in the season?
Something like that.
If I remember
Right
correctly.
Third,
and I think that becomes even stronger when they're facing a left-hander. I have to adjust. They have the 2nd most strikeouts and the 2nd most strikeouts per game. Apparently, the Reds haven't been striking out the last week or so.
Yeah.
Because both the Angels and Pirates passed them in strikeouts per game. So that's, something to pay attention to. But yes, the Pirates have a lot of danger in their lineup, but I don't think it's as strong versus left-handed pitching. Brandon Lau's not in the lineup today. Or no, he was. He is. He wasn't yesterday or something. I don't know. I'm all over the place, but just in general, the Pirates lineup is weaker against left-handed pitching. I'm gonna bring it up here. I'm trying to. Yeah, Lau is back in there, but Lau and O'Hearn not as strong against left-handed pitching. Obviously, it's a dangerous spot against Espinal and Valdez, right? Like he's just hitting at Reynolds. Reynolds has been good, but like Valdez is just destroying left-handed pitching right now.
Oh my god!
So that's obviously the worry, but. I'm going to sprinkle in some Pirates bats for sure, like Valdez, Reynolds. Nick Gonzalez is always somebody I'm fine playing with in a lineup because he's just steady and he's swinging it better. But Weathers just has a ton of upside against a team like that. There's just a whole lot of volatility to it. I don't really want to play a ton of Ashcraft, but he does make sense. It's just, do I really want to play him at 9,200 when I can play George Kirby for 200 more, totally for 500 less? DeGrom for just 800 more. I don't know. It's tough because there's so many 10+ K guys that it probably forces me off of Ashcraft more. I don't know. The Yankees still striking out, but also still hitting home runs.
Yeah. The Yankees are, 1, 2, 3, 6th. Then you have the aforementioned White Sox, and then your Orioles.
Yeah. I don't like the Orioles.
Pittsburgh is striking out 13 times a game over the last 3.
Yeah, they're up there. The Yankees obviously come into this game struggling a little bit, right? Just 5 runs scored since the break. So maybe that's the thing. But I don't know. I'm torn. Just because the Yankees did go into the All-Star break kind of on fire from a home run standpoint, and they are at home. They have 21 home runs in July, just 14 games. So I don't know. It's a tough price to pay, but I am playing Ashcraft. I don't know what my percentage is yet, but I assume it's probably going to be around 20%. I'm going to try to get overweight. Problem is all the guys that are owned double-digit percent right now are all guys that I want to play, which means I'm not creating myself much leverage for percentages, because I'm only fading these lower-owned guys for the most part. So that's going to be a tough juggling act for me. I have to make some decisions. Can you Can you play the Mizorowski arm fatigue angle and say, you know what, I need to go underweight on Mizorowski because of it? Or are you going to be like me and think that arm fatigue thing was just a way for them to skip a start and give him extra break to, control his innings and pitch total on the
Yeah,
season?
that's where I'm at. Just kind of he throws so hard, just give him a little extra time.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. Just because, I feel like they couldn't just say they're going to scratch him to give him rest.
Yeah.
Given that there's a bunch of tickets sold for that game on Sunday because it was supposed to be Skeens versus Mizorowski before the All-Star break. So my angle was thinking that he's fine, but is it out of the realm of possibility that somebody plays the angle where he actually does have some arm fatigue and he's not as sharp? So can you go underweight on him? I don't know. I don't think that you can completely fade him on either site. I just don't think it's something you want to do.
Yeah. Can't imagine fading him. I mean, his below average nights are 50, on FanDuel.
Right. So then to give yourself ownership percentage, you almost then have to decide to fade Weathers or Ashcraft or both, I guess. If you think turns into a Yankee Stadium game where you get some home runs. The problem is you're going to get strikeouts between those two teams. So that pitching combination is really tough to fade. Do you fade Dylan Cease because the Rays don't strike out at all?
No.
I don't think you do, but
I mean, I think he'll still, they don't strike out a lot, but he'll still get 7, 8 strikeouts, maybe.
He struck out a bunch against them in his one start this season.
Yeah.
So, I think he's more of a matchup-proof pitcher when it comes to that K stuff than some of the other guys. So, Dylan Cease is kind of one of the guys that I almost want to be overweight on for sure.
I think so.
Because he probably has the second highest ceiling on the slate. I mean, maybe he could rival Mizorowski, but I just don't think he does. But to pass on a ceiling like Cease has the way he's pitching this year, I think that's probably a bad decision. So where do we get our ownership to move things around? Maybe do you consider not playing Emmett Sheehan? That's probably a route to go, but that's only 7% on DK.
Yeah,
2% on FanDuel or something.
Well, like y'all mentioned before, let me switch over to FanDuel. DraftKings, so it makes a little more sense to me. But I was going to say Leahy. Because I imagine he's low owned on here too.
Yeah, Leahy's 7%, so he's somebody I'm going to go heavy on.
Yeah.
So I have to find percentages for that alone. I'm playing Eric Fetty tonight. Does that make you puke? Because it should.
It in my mouth a little bit.
The biggest reason I'm playing Eric Fetty is the fact that he has extreme power reverse split, so he still gives up hits to left-handed batters, but the home runs are massively weighted to right-handed hitters, and the Rangers don't really have a ton of right-handed hitters to worry about. So I'm going to sprinkle in Fetty as my other cheap guy. It does make me feel gross, but What are you doing anything with pitching in Wrigley? Are you considering Shane Baz at all?
No.
Just because he did have a good start against Boston earlier, but this Boston offense is kind of strong right now.
Yeah, I mean, if I remember correctly, like this, I guess they're two of the hotter teams. The Orioles have won 7 in a row, and I think Boston's won 12 in a row or something like that.
13, I believe it is.
13. Baez is a little tougher for me than, Tolley. But, I wouldn't be shocked if Baez went out and had a good game.
Yeah, he's probably the one that I can't make up my mind on the most on what to do with. I mean, to be honest, it's Freddie Peralta going back to Milwaukee, and it's Jose Soriano are the three guys that I just don't know what to do with. The Peralta going back to Milwaukee angle is the one that stands out to me because his numbers when pitching in Milwaukee in his career have been so good that, it's almost like a return home to where it might energize him a little bit, but also in the same breath, like he's just looked bad all season long. Like, so do I want to use Freddie Peralta against the Brewers offense? Is, ultimately the question, and I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah, it's not a team necessarily I always love to stack, but not a team I want to attack.
Right. I saw the Miami Marlins lineup, and it makes me want to play Ronel Blanco, but he's probably only going to throw 65, 70 pitches.
I was going to ask you about Jason Junk.
I don't think I can get there. I just don't think there's enough upside on a 14-game slate. Like, if he puts up 16, is it going to be enough? I don't think it's going to be. Plus, Jordan probably gets 3 home runs off him.
It's so much good offense out there. I think you're going to have to nail your pitching.
Yeah.
So it's not like, it's only 1 or 2 good offensive spots. I mean, the offense can come from a lot of places tonight. I mean, my 2 favorite stacks. Let's see. My 2 favorite stacks combined, I guess, would come in 4th place, in ownership. Ironically.
I mean, unfortunately, my 2 favorite stacks are pretty chalky, but, well, one of them is the Cubs aren't as high owned as I would have thought.
Yeah.
In Wrigley. I'm big on the Cubs, and then obviously the Tigers in the same game. But I will tell you, like, Tigers are cheap, so like them as a main stack allows you to go Mizorowski, and I think my main build is Mizorowski Leahy, but I think you can go a little higher than that, just because I think my secondary stack in there was Kansas City with Carter Jensen, who's like 4,800. So, you can get a Detroit stack with Mizorowski and, Kirby or something, or Tolley, and feel pretty good about it. Can't really do that with Washington, right? Washington, the most expensive team on DraftKings. They got the Coors Field price increase.
I think you can do it with my favorite stack.
I don't know who your favorite stack would be. I didn't look. Who the hell is it? Atlanta? Yeah.
Atlanta, and like I love San Francisco.
San Francisco's a little more expensive than I would have thought.
Yeah, more expensive than Atlanta.
Yeah. Boston's still cheaper, despite them putting up some offense recently.
Texas, I mean, they've been hitting the last, I guess since the break at least.
Yeah, I just don't like a lot of Texas. I like Wyatt Langford quite a bit, but it's kind of it. But that's only just because of the vast difference in power numbers against Fetty. Like something I don't remember. I don't have him in front of me, but I feel like he's given up 15 home runs and 13 of them have been to right-handed bats or something like that.
Whew.
So just a big difference, and
Yeah.
I find those random splits like that to be very interesting for what we do, because it really helps tiebreak a lot of these things, right? Like I look for reasons to play somebody. There's a lot of people out there that just look for reasons to not play somebody. Well, it's easier to find reasons to not play them, because the sport, they just fail so often as it is.
Yeah.
And so those split numbers are why I'm playing Fetty over any of the other cheaper guys outside of, Leahy. But yeah, we kind of pivoted to offense. We talked enough about pitching, I guess. But we have 28 teams to decipher and break down from an offensive standpoint. There's one popular team that I am considering completely fading. Can you figure out which team that is?
Washington?
It's not Washington, actually.
Arizona?
It is Arizona. Corbin Carroll left last night's game, kind of a day-to-day with a hyperextended elbow or something. The rest of that Arizona lineup, it was including Carroll because he hasn't exactly been swinging it very well. Hasn't really done a whole lot. They have a couple guys that are swinging it. They have scored, 6 runs per game after the All-Star break, but it's just like they have so many injuries. Like, so they're missing, like, Lourdes Gurriel. They're missing Tommy Troy against left-handed pitching. So that means, like, Max Kepler might have to play, or they're playing Ryan Waldschmidt, Tim Tawa. It's just a weirder-looking lineup, and I don't think it's as potent. And I think they're just getting the huge increase because, now I get it, like, Springs has given up 26 home runs in 97 innings. So he does allow plenty of home runs. But I'm curious to see how many of those come at home rather than on the road. That probably matters in this concept. 16 of the 26 have been at home. So he's thrown 11 more home innings and allowed 6 more home runs. So, I don't know. On the road, just an average against him of 233, where it's 287 at home. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just nitpicking a little bit, but I feel like they're a team that I don't necessarily want to be that high on. When you have San Francisco, the Cubs, you have Colorado, Kansas City, a hot Boston team, your favorite team, Atlanta, all well below them in ownership.
Yeah.
Colorado's half is owned. going down. The Cubs are nearly half as owned. So it's kind of the stance I'm taking. I get Arizona is cheap enough that I think you probably can play Mizorowski with Kirby, DeGrom, or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Is there a team that you're looking at fading near the top?
I think it'd been Arizona.
Like, I can understand people wanting to fade Washington, just because they are facing a lefty. James Wood has struggled a little bit out of the break. They don't get to play Luis Garcia, or if you do, he's in a weaker spot.
Yeah.
But it's still, they're not as high owned as a team with that kind of power probably should be in Coors. Seeing them at just under 100% feels low, but also we have to take into account the fact that we're normally not looking at a 14-game slate. So we do get a little bit more spread out.
I guess I would say Curtis Mead is pretty.
Mead makes a lot of sense.
High owned on FanDuel.
Yeah, he's going to be so popular. He and Dylan Cruz. When I looked earlier, Dylan Cruz was like the highest owned bat on DK, which blew my mind. But maybe it's changed since I last looked at it. Hopefully,
now it's Raleigh Green, followed by Torques, then McKistry, then Dingler, then McCongle, then Kerry Carpenter, Hope.
A lot of the Detroit bats.
Yeah. And then
I was going to say, is the White Sox the team that you're interested in playing the most at lower ownership, since you did mention them earlier in talking about not playing DeGrom? They're less than 0.5% owned on DK. Like, is that something you're interested in? Or, like, that's the thing. You can just destroy that percentage number by only playing, like, Colson Montgomery and, just being like, all right, I'm going to play him in 10% of my lineups.
Yeah.
Like, you just destroy that. But, like, do you really want to fully stack them?
I think I'd mini stack them. But, yeah, I'm probably not going full 5-man.
I think there are 3 other teams that are sub 7% that you can fully stack to be different. I think it's the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Pirates. The total ownership between those 3 teams are 13%. Feels very interesting considering I just had it up before, but I feel like those have to be 3 of the top 5 team OPSs in all of baseball. Not
the
top 5.
The ownership.
What's the top 2, and the Yankees are. Wait, why did that not? The top 2 and the Yankees are 6th in OPS. So those 3 teams, all in the top 6 of OPS in all of baseball, and combined for 13% ownership. Feels like a decent spot for GPP play. Aside from the fact that one of them takes on Christopher Sanchez.
Yeah. Maybe they'll get the Christopher Sanchez from the All-Star game.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, he's shown some cracks.
He struggled going into the break.
Yeah. There are a couple guys on the Dodgers that have had success against him, but also on the other side, he's just been ridiculously good when pitching at home. I think I mentioned it on the pitching video today. I think he's given up 2 home runs at home in 71 home innings this season, which feels like something that probably has a regression coming, but that number is just insane. So I don't know. Maybe you just play the Dodgers and hope that you get it right. I don't know. I don't know what to do there because the Dodgers against left-handed pitching aren't exactly that dangerous either. For the names that they have in their lineup, their best hitter in the lineup might be Edman against left-handed pitching at this point.
So Teoscar and Pages and some two-mans.
I mean, Teoscar, I hope Alex calls in the lineup. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. I had him in my notes, and then I was like, "Is he?"
Tommy Edman to me is. Yeah, I haven't. I should probably look to see if their lineup came out. But Alex Calls had success against Christopher Sanchez.
Fair to say, he's in the lineup.
It is. I do see it. He is playing right field. Tommy Edman hitting third. That's something to like to see. Mookie Betts all the way down to fifth now. But yeah, it feels really weird to pick on Christopher Sanchez.
But yeah, I mean that'd be a nice two-man, Alex Call and Teoscar.
They do. They are hitting back to back. So yeah.
And
the problem obviously is Kyle Tucker probably enters for Alex Call as soon as Sanchez is done. So you're probably getting 2 at-bats out of Call, especially if you're stacking the Dodgers. Since you're planning on them trying to get some runs, that means you're probably only getting 2 at-bats before they get to the bullpen. So that's the tough spot, in this scenario. But
I mean their ownership is 0.089 and 0.03. I mean, so you wouldn't need much of them.
Yeah, that's very true.
I mean, they're not 1% combined.
Yeah, I mean, that's some leverage on the best offense in baseball.
And really those two guys, you said Call, and then Teoscar is 5 for 12 with 2 home runs. So versus Sanchez.
Yeah. I think there's even more leverage to be had with the Yankees too. Lower owned, and the Yankees lead baseball in home runs. And we like home runs for DFS purposes.
Chicks dig the long ball.
They generally do. So, it's tough, but total Yankee ownership up 3%. Yeah, I
didn't even pay attention to it, but I know they had to be low. But what about Philadelphia? I mean, they're 15%.
Yeah, I think I don't mind Philadelphia, but they also haven't looked the greatest either. Outside of Trey Turner. Turner's starting to heat up. Obviously the big thing is we know that Schwarber is going to wake up again. He does have a home run over the last 3 games, but he's just capable of going on a stretch even when he's ice cold. He just suddenly can have a 3-homer game and then hit 7 home runs over the next 10 days or something. But the lineup's just underwhelmed
by Toronto.
There's just a team that I've kind of mentally given up on.
Yeah.
I know Springer has BVP. Problem is, like, Nick Martinez is just limited everybody he's facing. He doesn't rack up strikeouts, and they obviously don't strike out a whole lot. But God, I don't know. Like, Akamoto's 0 for his last 11. Yeah, I don't know the best route to take with them. They just don't. They don't intrigue me a whole lot. But the fact that they're higher owned than some of these other teams, even though it's only 13-14%, I just don't know. I mean, I think I'd probably play them more than Miami tonight.
Yeah.
More than Texas. But that's just because I'm committing to this whole Eric Fetty thing, just to ruin my night. But
Yeah, gotta do it one way or another.
I mean, I think I play Toronto more than the Angels. Probably more than St. Louis, even though St. Louis is another team I don't really know what I'm doing with tonight because I don't know what to do with Soriano. But
Yeah.
What do you think about Kansas City?
I like them. I like that game in general.
Yeah, I like a lot of Carter Jensen. For sure.
I think I like Lane Thomas. I mean, he's probably the only guy I listed.
Caglianone, Witt is back tonight, so that obviously makes the lineup a little more dangerous, but it also makes the lineup more expensive too. This just a 28 team slate just makes it really, really tough.
Yeah, I think I haven't attempted yet, but I think I think I'm going to stack in my single entry Atlanta with either San Francisco or Detroit, depending on what I can make work, and probably a one-off from whoever I don't use in the two-man or whatever. But it's
I mean, I think I'm going. What's that?
I was gonna say it's 100-man field, so I don't have to be perfect.
Right. I don't like. I mean, with a 14-game slate, I don't know that you have to be perfect tonight either for large field. And the reason I say that is because you have more teams available to match other teams, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, in theory, there's going to be multiple teams that score 10 to 12. So you don't have to just be on the one team that gets it done tonight. There's a better chance that it's 2, 3, or 4 teams that score 10 plus. But that also means you're just competing with more guys, more teams. So you're probably going to have to be more perfect within your stack, but not as perfect with the team you choose, if that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't like it's. It's weird. We have a bunch of games with some strong totals, but then we also have 4 games in the sevens, 5 games in the sevens. Roughly, some of those might be at 8, but they're based on the odds. They're saying it's more in the sevens. And then we also have 3 that are basically 11 plus. So I think there's some cool downs from a weather standpoint in some areas. And then obviously we get a Coors game plus wind blowing straight out in Wrigley. Then what's the other high total game? Oh, Kansas City, because they just seem to have high totals in Kansas City now.
Yeah.
But do you have any other offensive thoughts to share for everybody?
No, nothing mind blowing.
Sorry I missed your what up, J Main. Hopefully you're still out there. I see that was like a half an hour ago, but I wasn't really paying attention to the comments, and that's my bad. Well, why don't we just go position by position? I'll let you take the floor first and share your preferred plays at each position, and then I will share mine, and then you can give your dong out to the people or dongs, and we will call it so that we can get building some lineups.
My favorite catcher is probably going to be Drake Baldwin or Hunter Goodman. He's just stupidly good. First base, I really love Matt Olson and I love Devers. Second base, Ariz and Albies. I agree with the field at third, if you want to call him. McCongle. Love Curtis Mead. Casey Schmidt. But I think my favorite might be Riley. Third base, let's say third base. Shortstop, Willie Ademus. Swanson has some pretty good BVP, if I recall.
Yep.
And, like you got CJ, you can use McCongle there. Outfield, it's so many. I'm going to jump to my sheet instead of trying to see 8 million people. Love Brian Reynolds. Like I've talked about Teoscar before. I like Taylor Ward tonight. Love Heliot Ramos. Conforto would be some of my favorites.
All right. For me at catcher, already mentioned him multiple times, Carter Jensen. Been pretty good at the plate recently. And if you want to be a little unique, Joey Bart as a punt guy on a team that has Drake Baldwin, who's getting a lot more ownership. So that's kind of a deep GPP thought there. Like, I don't want to be too invested in Joey Bart.
And didn't he have BVP?
I think he was 2 for 3 or something with like a home run. But it's just me trying to pivot off of, the hottest catcher in baseball right now is Drake Baldwin. So, but yeah, first base. I didn't love first base as much this evening. I did mention it earlier in the show, but in case you missed that part, I think my favorite guy is Jack Caglianone. You can play him in the outfield for sure. I think I like Bryce Eldridge a little bit more than Rafael Devers, but they're very similar in ownership. Second base, Luis Ariz, you'd mentioned him, makes a ton of sense to me. I like the way that he lines up. Willie Castro, another guy that's hit a couple home runs over the last 3 games, I believe. Somebody that wants third base. You can pick a Detroit guy and they make sense. You can pick Curtis Mead, who makes a ton of sense. Those are obviously the chalkier options. I think Austin Riley is getting overlooked, and he's been hot coming out of the break.
Yeah, and
And
he
he's
is such
facing a left-handed
a
pitcher.
guy.
Right, he's streaky, and traditionally we loved him against left-handed pitching.
Yeah,
So that's who he's facing tonight. So I'm intrigued, but my number one guy is Kobe Mayo at third. I think his OPS is what 1100 or is it 1200 against left-handed pitching? Like an ISO of 460 something or something like that on the season.
it's pretty
It's
close.
400 plus against left-handed pitching. Yeah, Mayo's been hitting left-handed pitching, so he's definitely my number one. Austin Riley would be my number two because of the ownership numbers. Shortstop, I think I'm just going to ride with Trey Turner with how hot he's been. Not really getting any ownership, which is nice because we saw with Philly, they're not projected to be very popular. Then, like I mentioned earlier, Colson Montgomery, even though it's against DeGrom, like he's the guy that DeGrom could give up, 2 solo home runs to.
Yeah.
And I would not be shocked on this slate. So I think he's probably my second favorite for large field GPP purposes. Outfield, I gotta remember where I went. Esmeralda Valdez for sure, just because he's been destroying left-handed pitching, and Weathers is fairly popular. Caglianone I mentioned at first base, but him in the outfield makes sense. Seiya Suzuki, I think might go a little overlooked for the Cubs, or at least in that game. Fernando Tatis has been hot to start the second half, so he's another guy that I am making sure that I up my exposure to. 2 home runs and 2 stolen bases in the first 3 games out of the break for Tatis. But that's all I have at the positions. Why don't you hook people up with your dongs for tonight, and then we will get out of here and be back in 23 hours.
Let's see. Kevin McCongle. I love Rafael Devers. Dansby Swanson, and Dalton Varsho.
It would be nice to see Dalton wake up a little bit.
And I could see, like Olsen or Raleigh both hitting one, or this is a game like Ozzy will come in there and smack one.
Yeah. Trying to figure out who on Atlanta does get it done.
Michael Harris.
Because, I was surprised to see on Atlanta that their top 3 guys against left-handed pitching this season from a power standpoint are all left-handed. Or 2 out of the top 3, I guess. Albies being a switch hitter, but 3 out of the top 4. Now that I'm walking myself in circles, Drake Baldwin, Matt Olson, and Michael Harris all have 5 or 6 plus home runs against left-handed pitching. So Atlanta's just one of those ones where it feels weird completely stacking them because you're going to end up with so much left on left. But the way that they've been performing makes a lot of sense.
I think I'd lean most likely Harris would be my favorite to homer. Then maybe Baldwin, Olsen, Riley.
Man, I think I'm going to lean with Riley for now. Just because, he's so streaky. And for those of you Marlins fans out there, sad day. Max Meyer just went on the IL for 15 days with a neck issue. With how he's been pitching, it's rough to see because I've enjoyed his breakout a bit this year. But Yeah, that's all we have for today. Slate getting started in a little over an hour. 28 teams to go through. If you're using the DS, you're a member of DFS Army, give it a little bit extra time because there's a lot more permutations for it to roll through as you're running it. If you're not a member of DFS Army, there's a link in the description. Scrolling across the bottom of the screen is our best coupon code. Best Ball 2026 gets you 20% off your membership on a monthly basis. That is for any NFL or VIP membership. The VIP and the Core 4 does include MLB. If you want to join us for just MLB only, you can use promo code RAZ or Tattoo, and that gets you 10% off for the life of your membership. We will be back roughly 23 hours from now for our Tuesday show. So until then, best of luck, everybody, and helmets up. We'll catch you later.
Got the best coaches in the game. We really ain't playing. We regroup up in the Slack chat where the coaches debrief. We be piecing these puzzles, occupy the chunk of the pie. Ain't no lie when we hit the block. Helmets casket is got. You be seeing helmet after helmet, helmet after helmet. First place, second place, fifth place, eighth place, 12th place, 15, 16, 20. So many helmets, you got blurred vision, we got too many. Take your tech. Oh man, shit. They got us fucked up. Army, regroup. We pledge always to have that edge. We don't fire warning shots. Competition just dropped. We locked and loaded before lock. Whatever the time, yeah. Do you even correlate?
Being the best requires a willingness to outwork your competition. There's always someone smarter, faster, sharper, more naturally gifted.